The Orion Sportscast brings you Orion on Ice. Here are your hosts, Josh Egan and Jarek Moore.
And we are, I'm not even in the screen, and we are here. We got a new background going. Jarek's got a nice Nike hat on. We're all feeling pretty good today. The Leafs with a massive preseason 3-1 win, but we will get to that later. How's everyone doing today? Jarek, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, man. Just chilling, enjoying the preseason. I'm sure we'll get to all or nothing, but I'm actually getting excited for hockey season now that baseball's over, and I'm sure we can chat a little bit of Blue Jays. But now that the baseball season's done, it's kind of ramping up for hockey, and we're getting ready to see the big boys play, and I'm sure we'll see some of them play tomorrow.
No, yeah, 100%. I'm excited. Obviously, like you said, baseball season coming to a close, and sad fashion as always when it comes to Toronto sports. Yesterday hurt. Obviously, we'll probably get into that near the end of the show, but still in a little bit of a heart pain from yesterday, I would say, as my heart was ripped out of my chest when it came to the Blue Jays playoff chances. But our hockey's coming back. I'm feeling good. We're going to see some of the big boys in the lineup probably tomorrow, like you said, and I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, I mean, we could touch on the Blue Jays quickly, then leave it at that. Just what a hell of a season by them. 91 wins and you finish fourth in your division. Like, let's just abolish the AL East because it's a fucking joke. Like,
I just don't get it. It's like, I mean, like don't get me wrong. Obviously, winning a division does mean something. Like, and I do like having the division championships crowned every year, or division champions crowned every year. But it's one of those things. Like we're literally like, I don't know the White Sox record off of hand, but we're watching teams that have maybe just as many wins as the Jays finishing first, and teams that are almost below 500 finishing second in some divisions. Like, I just don't understand how we're going to continue to see good teams not make the playoffs, and we're just going to be okay with it.
The playoffs is supposed to be the best of the best, and I just don't think we're getting that this year.
No, we're getting robbed. Like, I mean, I don't understand why in 2021, when the majority of the teams in the AL East are playoff contending teams, and they're all in the same division. 4 of the 5 teams finished with 90 plus wins. Like, give me a break.
Yeah, oh well. You had a former Montreal team in the Nationals screw over the Blue Jays, as well as a future Montreal team in the Tampa Bay Rays screw over the Blue Jays. So,
and all jokes aside, too, I think this is a prime example of this is the Jays' fault for not winning or for not making playoffs. They did have their chance. All they needed to do was win one game against the Twins that they didn't win.
Or the Yankees, or the Orioles, or literally any game in July, any game.
Or let's think of all those games that their bullpen blew in April and May that they could easily finish first in this division if they got their shit together quicker.
Yeah.
But it's all, we can obviously go back and look at everything that happened and be angry about it. But let's just congratulate the Blue Jays on a great season. And hopefully moving forward, we can keep some of our key free agents. Obviously, that hasn't been the easiest thing to do. And I think in general, when it comes to Toronto free agency, but hopefully we can lock up Ray, we can lock up Semyon, and hopefully we can bring a MLB championship to Toronto soon.
Or at least a wild card game.
Or at least, or just some type of excitement. And here's a question for you. Do you think, where do you think this team is if they're playing in Toronto all year?
Probably probably at least in game 163, probably even a wild card spot.
I would go ahead and say that they're winning this division with this team if they're playing in Toronto year round. I think that does do something to the team and kind of messes with their momentum, so to speak.
It could do. I guess we'll never know. But let's get into some NHL news after we really broke down the Blue Jays there. Biggest story in the NHL right now is Robin Lehnor. I don't know if you saw this, but this guy put out. Well,
how could you not?
Robin Lehnor put out a bunch of tweets that raised some questions. So I'm going to bring them up here and we can kind of talk about them as they are. Some of them were brought back. Some of them were left out there. He's met with the NHL. A bunch of people have reported on this. So he's making waves, and it's kind of scary to see that this could be going on from behind the scenes. So on October 2nd, he tweeted out, is it common for workplaces to give out Bozena Davines to employees when they travel an abdomen? Should that not be done by doctors or psychiatrists? Asking for a friend. This doesn't happen in Vegas, to be clear, but I know many other teams. I also been on teams that do that. Hashtag Philadelphia Flyers question mark. Dinosaur coach treating people like robots, not humans. Fire these dinosaurs. Fire Vigneault first story. I got proof. Try to shake your way out of this one. Like, I don't know. This guy, he's dropping tweets left and right. He had another one talking about his ankle injury. He goes on to say, I'm 100% an NHL fan, love hockey, and want the NHL to be great. I'm not trying to destroy anything, but do what's right. It's time to walk away from the old ways and into the new. Things have to change. I talk way too much and still have 90% of my filter on. Don't make me take it away. But then, the whole thing that kind of started this is he was defending Jack Eichel. And it started with him tweeting out a Jack Eichel highlights video. And then he tagged the NHL and said, is it good to keep a generational player out of this league? His body is his choice. Do what's right. And then he tagged the Sabres. Then he tweeted out, to the NHLPA saying it's disappointing. All I got to say, same with NHL players not sticking up for each other. Remember, next time it could be you. Then he tweeted out an article from Buffalo News where Dr. Chad Prosmak, who wants to do the disc replacement, says that he should get the disc replacement, and then he letter pretty much implicates and says that it's better to have pain for the rest of his lives, at least that the Sabres will provide them with pain meds. This is the same old shit. It's kind of crazy. What did you take away from this? I know there's a lot there, but what did you take away from this whole situation?
I mean, it's one of those things where I want to ask you a question first. Is this situation one of those things that you can be 50-50 on? Like, and what I mean by that is
from some sides of it, like
I get what he's doing, and I completely respect him for what he's doing because he is trying to make the game better, but there has to be way better ways of doing it than just exposing people on Twitter.
But maybe he's tried those ways. We know how the NHL works. We know how the NHLPA works. They haven't done anything with the Blackhawks, and there's proof there. Akeem Ali went to the NHL and the NHLPA 2 years ago, and they said they would do an investigation. It's now 2 years later, and he hasn't heard anything back. You take a look at the Evander Kane investigation with the allegations. We don't know what that was. They didn't release any public findings. There's probably a million other examples, like Arizona Coyotes and their investigations. That took 2 days. We don't know what they're doing. We don't know what they're covering up. They always say, "Oh, we're dealing with it internally." Dealing with it internally doesn't solve anything because nobody is held accountable for what has happened. You deal with it internally, you're good. If you do something on this show, and we say, "Oh, we'll deal with it internally," we don't have to say anything because I've told you, "Hey, don't do that again."
Yeah, 100%.
In private, behind closed doors, and then nobody knows that we've done that. We can just say we dealt with that internally, and that lets the mind wonder. Because I could have just said, "Hey, yeah, Jarek, that was hilarious when you made fun of that guy," or I could have said, "Hey, man, don't do that again. That's awful. You have to go to PR training. You got to do this. You got to do that. But we'll keep it under wraps." You don't know what it is. There's no accountability. There's no receipts. There's no proof that anything has been done. So the NHL does need to, and the PA.
It's just so tough. Like, it's just so tough because this is the league that has been known to, like, I don't know what's being a hockey player known for? It's playing through injuries. And for the history of this game, how many times during the playoffs has somebody been hurt and they themselves are telling the doctor to give them something that they can get back onto the ice with? You know what I mean? So for every team that's handing these players and these players don't know what they're taking, there's players out there still in 2021 in today's NHL that are taking those pills, those drugs willingly to get back onto the ice quicker. That's just a fact. Let's just not ignore that. We can't.
Yeah, there is. Doctors will do. No, I shouldn't loop doctors into it. Teams will do anything. Some teams will do anything to get their players back on the ice. At the end of the day, it is a business, and your players are a product. And I think some owners and GMs and coaches and training staff, and I'm not looping everybody into this, but a select few, they can't see the line between a product and a human, right? Like,
no, I agree. I agree.
If someone is sick and they need help let them get that help. It's a human being. They will come back healthier and better. So pushing them to do something and forcing them to, not forcing them, but giving them medication that they don't know what it is. They don't know that it's addictive. They don't know it's a painkiller. They don't know it'll make them any side effects without telling them what it is it's dangerous. And quite frankly,
Mhm.
I think it's illegal.
Like for instance, like can you imagine if back in the day when Phil Kessel had his cancer and the Bruins told him that he had to go get a treatment a certain way? Like, could you imagine that? Like
Yeah.
what's the difference? So like I know there is a crazy difference between cancer and a neck injury, but at the end of the day, there isn't because it's their body. Let them do what they need to do
Mm-hmm.
to make themselves feel comfortable about life after hockey and life during hockey.
Yeah.
But it's just I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's a mess. I hate seeing this stuff because it does take away from the game. And obviously I want to see this stuff get dealt with behind closed doors. But like you said, how many times have people tried to deal with it behind closed doors and it never worked?
Yeah, so there was some fallout from all these tweets. The NHLPA reached out to Robin Lehnor on Sunday after he sent out all these tweets, and they were actually on a team retreat at the team owner Bill Foley's ranch in Montana, and he owns the Vegas Golden Knights. And the NHL has also confirmed it made contact with Lehnor over the weekend and to set up a meeting, but it hasn't been scheduled yet. Lehnor set the meeting with the NHLPA, not the NHL. And no, you got to remember an important fact here is the NHLPA represents the players. So they would probably jump on this really quickly. It was a great talk, but he also made clear that he was not alleging the Flyers coach, Alain Vigneault, was distributing pills to players. He just said that he's terrible to his players. So,
It's just
sure,
I
I
mean
guess,
it's a
yeah.
weird thing to it's a weird thing to bring up his name while you're going on a rant about.
He's never played for him.
No, 100%. So it's one of those things where like you're just gonna take someone's word that has played for him. Obviously, like it might be true, it might not be, but it's just like that could just be a player that was benched and was mad.
Yeah.
This guy hands out drugs, his career destroyed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's huge thing to do, but we're just I can't sit here and ignore that the fact that hasn't happened before.
Mhm.
It definitely has.
Yeah. Vigneault, in an interview yesterday or a post-game press conference, followed up and said, I don't know the young man, referring to Lehnor. The two things he said about me, dinosaur. I consider myself experienced, but a dinosaur, you could say with experience, you become a dinosaur maybe. I do know I have been coaching a few years. I am tough. I am demanding, but I do care about my players. I want their best. Through the years, there's probably been some guys that like me, some maybe a bit less, but I've done it with the best intention and with respect. So nothing really came of that. Leonard also said in a tweet on Saturday that he's going to release a story each day with proof from myself and other players and current players into what's going on until he sees change. I think that is the tweet that had the NHL step up and reach out to him and kind of to say, hey, shut the fuck up. Like, let's deal with this. And again, they'll probably want to deal with it internally, which isn't good.
I don't know. It's not good either way. It's not good to be lambasting people on Twitter, and it's not good to be destroying people behind closed doors, right? It's one of those things where it's a mess no matter how you slice it, and it is what it is. It's just one of those things where I don't know. Me being me, I'm sitting here kind of I'm almost against Leonard because it's one of those things where it's going to take a lot more than going at people on Twitter to change the hockey lifestyle of if you're hurt, take whatever you need to get back onto the ice. And just, I mean, watching the All or Nothing series, we kind of seen it with Anderson.
Yeah.
The doctor was sitting there telling Dubas, "Hey, like we've done all we can do. It's up to Freddie now." And that's kind of being like, "Hey, we can't really do anything else when the player doesn't want to do anything."
Right. Daniel Carcillo also chimed in with a story that was kind of heartbreaking. He put out an 11 tweet thread. I won't read all of them, but his first one was he's pretty much saying happy to see some former and current NHL players sticking up for themselves. He asked the NHLPA where they're at. He pretty much said Jack Eichel's treatment by the Sabres is no way an isolated incident. And then he referred to his friend Steve Montador, who was one of his best friends. And the NHL and their doctors cleared him for 19 concussions over his whole career, and he was cleared for 4 concussions in the span of 12 weeks. His 16th, 17th, 18th, and 19th brain injuries were in his 571st NHL games. pretty much the Blackhawks couldn't get him cleared during the lockdown in 2004, 2005. Him and Steve Monador, they went through some recovery, but it was outside of the Blackhawks suggestions, and he was able to pass pretty much an unapproved, non-peer reviewed exhaustion test that the Blackhawks implemented for all players to pass before returning to play. He passed an unapproved test, and then the Blackhawks asked him to sign his fit to play one. This was after he went out and wanted to get a bunch of outside treatment. He left the team to go and get treatment, pretty much the same one that Sidney Crosby got in 2011 for his concussion, which did work. Now, he signed his fit to play, and then that's when it all went downhill, because within hours of re-signing the fit to play, the Blackhawks sent Steve Monador down to the AHL club, and he never came back up. He was pretty much locked out from outside the team. The treatment, he didn't get any from the team. I don't know. It's just so bad. Like,
it's I don't know.
If this
It's
is the
always
way
50-50.
if this is the way they're treating players, then I don't know. Players need to speak up. But maybe these are isolated incidents. We don't know. We're not behind closed doors. We're just reporting what's been reported.
It has that, I don't know, it has one of those like that WWE feel to it almost. Where
CM Punk and the Z-Packs.
No, it's that, and it's just one of those things where we keep hearing about how bad this is and how bad that is, but nobody walks away and people keep re-signing.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things where if it's so bad, leave.
But where else are you gonna go?
No, I get that, man. But at the end of the day, we all don't have the dream of waking up every day and being a professional hockey player. So it's one of those things. If you're not willing to walk away from a sport you love to make it better, then I don't know what you're willing to do.
Or speak up. Even just speaking up can make a massive difference.
Yeah,
like, hey,
no,
I'm not.
And that's what I mean. That's what I mean.
I think Jack Eichel is doing that, right, as well. Like, he doesn't want to do what the Sabres are telling him to do because he cares about his body. And you know what? That's your body, your choice, man. Like, good for you.
I agree.
But there are repercussions after that. Should there be these repercussions? No. Because if Jack Eichel wants to do a surgery that he feels is safer for him, that should be the really only choice. Unless somebody is in a state of mind where they can't make the correct choice, nobody else should be making a choice for you.
Or hell, it's one of those things where even I believe Robin Lehnor actually said this. It's one of those things where let this guy do the surgery he wants, make him sign a waiver. If anything goes wrong, he doesn't get paid. Easy as that. Done. It's done. Problem solved. Like it's really that simple.
Yeah. Kind of moving on away from this depressing topic. Do you think we see Jack Eichel play this season?
No chance.
I don't think we see him play this season either.
I think that ship has sailed. I don't think he's even traded before the season's done. I think it's a next off-season trade because of the mess that's become of the situation.
Yeah.
And I think he sits all year because I don't think this is going to be a problem that gets solved. I think this screams out court case, and it's gonna be scary to see how far this goes before.
I think it'll be a quick fucking court case. I'll tell you that right now.
I agree with you, but it's scary to think that a hockey situation has become a court case.
Yeah. Wouldn't be the first time, won't be the last time.
No.
We're gonna do next week. This is I have it planned out, and I think we'll be on board. We're gonna do like an NHL preview show because it's the Monday and the season kicks off on Tuesday. Cool. We'll record Monday or Tuesday. I know it's Thanksgiving weekend. We'll figure it out. But we're gonna have I'm gonna put together some fun prop bets, and I'm gonna have biggest dumpster fire. And I will tell you, my pick right now is the Buffalo Sabres. So tune in next week for some more fun prop bets from the Orion Sportscast crew. So next story, moving on. We got a little bit of a fun one here. It's kind of outside the NHL, but still involves the NHL. The Olympic roster. Team Canada released 3 players that were on the team. 2 of them were no-brainers, and one of them was kind of like people were asking questions, but if you know how good he is, you would understand it. Sidney Crosby.
I was questioning McDavid too.
Sidney Crosby, Captain Canada, was named to the team. Connor McDavid, the best player in the world right now, was named to the team, and Alexander Pietrangelo was named to the team as well. Team Canada released 3 players, and I believe Team Sweden announced 3 players. So
I think everybody had to know. I think it was a deadline.
But I haven't seen any other countries report on it.
Okay, makes sense.
So I'm not sure what was going on here, which brings my question to why did they do this?
Canada just wanted to flex having McDavid.
I think it's bold that they think they're going to win gold with only 3 players.
Well,
know
we have Crosby and Pietrangelo. We're good.
They know it's not 3-on-3, right?
Oh, you never know.
Right. So I don't know. That we could talk about this a little bit. Who do you see making the Team Canada roster? Like, obviously, you've got, your Givens that are going to be on there. Marner will be on there. You'll probably see
I don't think Marner's is such a given as people like to think.
He's got a 200-point seasons. I think he'll be on there. You got guys like Bergeron will be on there. Marchand will be on there. Blanking on a couple of the other names, but you'll have your typical Team Canada roster. Yeah. My question to you is, who do you see on there that will kind of raise an eyebrow? Who's going to be the Chris Kunitz this year?
I mean, call me crazy, but depending on how good the season starts, Zach Hyman.
I was just thinking Zach Hyman.
Like, it's one of those players you throw him on a line with McDavid. I don't know. Give me another player that would go with Hyman and McDavid on the Olympic roster. Hell, Marner.
Yeah.
Throw Marner, McDavid, and Hyman on a line of the Olympic team. I don't think that could be a bad thing. And we've seen it before. You don't have to be a star player to be on the Olympic team, and you can still help the team like Kunitz did, right? So, what would be your answer for that question?
I think Zach Hyman's a good pick. It's going to be interesting because Chris Kunitz was on that team because he played well with Sidney Crosby. So if Zach Hyman's able to play well with Connor McDavid in Edmonton, then hell yeah, I'll do that. Have somebody go into the corners, get the puck out for McDavid, who can bang it in, or have someone on that line that McDavid is able to set up and can get to the front of the net. Yeah, fuck it, go for it. That'd be fantastic. There's going to be guys on this team, though. I think they're going to go young.
I just don't want to go too young. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's one of those things where you do need experience when it comes to the Olympic hockey and the Olympic experience.
But you also don't want a repeat of 2006 where Sidney Crosby was on the taxi squad.
No, I agree.
Right? So,
but they also
go ahead.
They also didn't really have the greatest selection to that team, though, because they definitely went with an older roster pool. But it's one of those things where I don't necessarily think the older talent then is as good as the older talent now. So you could definitely go with an older roster and still have a stacked team.
Right. Like, the best Olympic Canadian team in memory is the 2010 team. So I'll read off some names on here, and I'm going to leave one name till last because I think it'll spark a good conversation. And you let me know if you think they'll make this team. There's some names on here that don't even play anymore. So Patrice Bergeron, will he make the team?
I would say yes.
Sidney Crosby's already made it. Ryan Getzlaf, probably too old.
Yeah, definitely too old.
Danny Heatley's not even playing anymore. Jerome McGinley won't do it. Patrick Marleau, I don't think so. Brandon Morrow, I don't even know how he's
Is he even on a team right now?
Yeah, I think
Patrick Marleau's a free agent, I think.
No, I think he's re-signed with the Sharks. Brendan Morrow, I don't even know how he was on the 2010 team. Rick Nash doesn't play anymore. Corey Perry, that could be an interesting one if he starts hot.
I don't think so.
You got Mike Richards, Eric Stahl, probably not. Joe Thornton, nope. Jonathan Toews, maybe. And then on defense, you have Dan Boyle. I'm going to skip this one. Duncan Keith, I hope not. Scott Niedermayer not playing. Chris Pronger works for the NHL, not playing. Brent Seabrook, God, I hope not. Shea Weber, he's injured. Then your goaltenders, Martin Brodeur, retired. Marc-Andre Fleury, he will be on the team. Roberto Luongo, retired. So there's a lot of turnover.
Marc-Andre Fleury's making the team?
Oh, yeah.
Like, who's the goalie then? Fleury, Binnington, and Price?
Fleury.
That's pretty scary if that's their goalies.
Dude, and where does Carter Hart come into the conversation here?
I don't think Carter Hart's in the conversation, to be honest with you.
I don't think Binnington's in the conversation.
Well, Price is definitely the starter. I don't think we're gonna pass.
Is he though? Like, he's coming off an injury.
I think so. I think he's the starter.
I think it's Fleury.
Yeah, I guess we'll see, because Fleury. I was watching the Blackhawks Red Wings game from tonight. And Fleury, I don't know. Fleury playing on a bad team, it might kind of bring Fleury back down to earth.
I guess we'll find out. There's one name I excluded there, and then we're going to get into a fun conversation about one of Canada's opponents. Not Duncan Keith. Drew Doughty. He's pretty much already named himself to the Olympic team. Does Drew Doughty make the Olympic team this year? And I have a very strong opinion on this, so I'd love to hear yours.
I think so. Yes. I don't understand the Drew Doughty hate. Like I get it. This guy had are we just gonna completely ignore just the stellar seasons this guy had in LA? Like he was a monster. He was a monster. I just don't get the hate for Drew Doughty. The guy has shown that he can play the Olympic style. He's done it twice. And I don't know what other defenseman you're bringing with the Olympic experience he has.
Drew Doughty is. I don't know how to word this. He's not elite anymore. He's older. He's up there. He's past his prime. He's playing on a terrible LA Kings team, and yet he still thinks he's God's gift to hockey. He was fantastic in 2010. He was great in 2014 on those Olympic teams. And I was talking to somebody at my work, and they said Drew Doughty is a lock for the 2022 Olympic roster. And I said, you're high. Like, you shouldn't be doing that. You got Alex Pietrangelo, Morgan Riley will be on that team. There's so many other options besides Drew Doughty. If he's on this team, I would love to see him in like a taxi squad role, or if he's on it, put him as the sixth defenseman. But everyone's whole argument here is, oh, who are you going to put out there in a 1-goal game against the U.S. in the third period with 2 minutes left? Not Drew Doughty.
But just because he's on a team, you don't have to.
That's their whole argument. There's like, oh yeah, you can use him in those situations. He has the experience. What about the two guys from Vegas that can do it? Theodore and Pietrangelo. They've done it numerous times. They've not win gold at the Olympics, but they've been in that shutdown role, right?
Yeah,
I think Morgan Riley's a better option than Drew Doughty.
Give me your sixth defense without Drew Doughty then.
So you have, oh man,
because the defense of Darnell Nurse, Morgan Riley is scary for the Olympics. That's not. I don't think that's a good thing.
Darnell Nurse is an interesting case. I think he'll make it, just because he's going to be a huge. He's going to have a big season this year. I'd probably go. We got Cale Makar for sure is going to make the team. Thomas Chabot will be in there, I think, if he has a good season to start the year. Aaron Ekblad, if he's okay coming off that injury. Bowen Byram, maybe. Dougie Hamilton, Shea Theodore, Alex Pietrangelo, Morgan Riley. I'm
not taking Bowen Byram over Drew Doughty.
It really depends how the season starts, right?
He's 19 though. I don't
care that he's 19. Put him as your extra.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think you're taking up a roster spot with a 19-year-old, especially when you have all those Canadian defense out there.
Yeah. I mean, and you're leaving out guys like, you're leaving out Brent Burns. I don't think he would make it anyway. Colton Parenko is a good option. Josh Morrissey is good. Mark Giordano, Jake Muzzin, Samuel Girardi as well. We haven't even mentioned.
I think Jake Muzzin definitely has a chance.
If he starts hot, yeah.
It's just that injury thing. I think he just needs to avoid an injury. And I don't think I really want to watch Jake Muzzin playing in the Olympics.
No, I'd rather him get the
injury
rest.
Thing, right? Exactly.
So let's have one more Olympic question. John Tavares, yes or no on the team?
Yes.
Fourth line center?
Third or fourth line center. I don't think he's going to be playing first or second line minutes, but he's a great player. He has chemistry with a lot of the guys that are going to be on the team. Mm-hmm. And hell, he can play a left wing role with McDavid even, and he can have a good tournament.
Yeah, fuck it, go ahead. Now, there's a fun story coming out of this, and I don't know if the decision's come out yet. Canada is supposed to play China in one of their games. Now, China is ranked 36th in the IIHF standings, and the top 12 teams are supposed to make the Olympics, with a host being in there as well. And then other teams have to play in. There's a whole process. Now, the IIHF and the Olympic Committee, the IOC, have said that they were thinking about removing China from the hockey event because they don't want there to be a slaughtering. Now, here's my question to you, and I think I sent you this TikTok. What would you think, and how do you feel about China being in the Olympics for hockey?
I mean, I get it. They're the host country, so they kind of have to. But it's just like, I don't know. I don't want to watch that. That's gonna be embarrassing for the game of hockey to be watching Canada up 37-0.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. I just don't like the. I don't know. It's just not a good thing in my opinion.
I kind of want to see it. I'm not gonna lie.
That's fair. That's fair. I get the aspect of wanting to see it, but it's just like, I don't know. It's like meh. It's just, come on.
I don't know what they're gonna do either, because they were talking about maybe adjusting it so there's like they can have some NHL players on there who have like Chinese descent or maybe a connection to China. Or
I feel like they do that every year, so I definitely think so.
yeah, but man, maybe they should take a page out of remember the World Cup of Hockey? They should take a page out of their book and kind of do like a Team U-23 North America.
Yeah.
Right, that was fun. That tournament was fun.
Yeah,
I feel like we should do an episode where we look back at that tournament because that was a bunch of fun.
Yeah.
Even though it made no fucking sense.
Yep, I agree.
Right, so that's our Olympic talk. I'm sure as the season gets going and as we get closer to the Olympics, we will we'll hear some more news about the Olympics. Now, next up, I have Brady Tkachuk update. You want to take a quick break before that, or are you good to keep going?
No, I'm good to go.
All right, so Brady Tkachuk still has not signed. The two he was trading with in Elias Pettersson and Quinn Hughes have signed in Vancouver. We'll get to that nextly. Brady Tkachuk update. I can give you some insider news here. Apparently, there is an offer sheet coming from a bottom feeder team. Now, I cannot confirm who this bottom feeder team is, but who would you think would be the team to offer sheet Brady Tkachuk, and what does that contract look like? Also, what do the Sens need to do to keep this guy?
A bottom feeding team. Yeah. Which means they most likely have cap, correct?
Yeah. So I went with my teams who I think could do it are Columbus, Buffalo, and Anaheim.
I was gonna say Anaheim or Columbus, and I think Columbus they want to strike. They almost went with Marner a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So
they offered him $16 million apparently.
Did they offer? Did they really?
They offer. I don't think he signed the offer sheet. Apparently, the ruined number was $16 million.
Oh wow! Well then, let's say they do that with. If they do that with Tkachuk, why not? Right? I think I could see him signing in Columbus.
I don't think he wants to.
No, but does he want to sign in Ottawa, or does he want to sign in Columbus, where one of his best friend or one of his old teammates, Kent Johnson's playing?
Here's the thing, right? So you look at your Brady Tkachuk. Who's going to be better in 2 years, Columbus or Ottawa?
I don't think you want to say Ottawa, but who knows?
Who's going to be better?
Columbus just had the draft of the century last draft. So
yeah, that's true. Who's going to be better, Ottawa or Anaheim?
Anaheim.
Anaheim will be better in that situation, but would they be able to afford him down the line? Yes. Who's going to be better in 2 years, Ottawa or LA?
LA.
See, I'd say Ottawa there. Ottawa's up and coming. They got some young guys coming up. They have a lot of draft picks in the upcoming drafts.
I don't think Ottawa's going – Ottawa's going to be a solid team, but I don't think Ottawa's going anywhere with Matt Murray as their starting goalie.
No, but he's only on a 4-year deal. He's got 3 years left. They have a couple goaltending
I think he signed
prospects.
a 6-year – or no, yeah, you're right, 4-year
deal. Yeah, they got a couple prospects who can play goaltender. He's a nice trade chip for a team who needs a 2 or 3 option as well.
I think they thought Seattle was going to take him, to be honest.
Yes. I also thought they may have taken Carey Price, but I guess not. Yeah. So we will see what happens there, but that's just your Brady Tkachuk update. I think he ends up signing in Ottawa an 8-year deal, $8.2 million, and then becomes captain immediately.
I don't think he signed an 8-year deal. I think I think we've talked about this last week. I think this situation of how much of a mess it's became, I think is totally just the ship has sailed on an 8-year contract. So I think he literally signs a 3-year deal.
Money talks.
I agree. But the Tkachuks are stubborn. They've proven that before.
That's true. All right, let's move on to the other RFA signings. And I actually believe that I was one of the first ones to tweet this out. I'm not going to lie. But I had the numbers pretty solid. If anybody wants to battle me on that, but I was talking to a couple people who were inside the NHL and they were able to get this for me. The Canucks have re-signed Quinn Hughes and Elias Pettersson to multi-year contracts. Hughes re-signed for 6 years at an average of 7.85 million, and Pettersson is re-signed for 3 years at an average annual of 7.35 million. So there's a couple, structure changes there. There's a couple signing bonuses, but that's just to dumb it down for you. What do you think of these two signings?
I love the Pedersen deal. It's
Yeah.
a prove me deal. Like he's going to be good. I don't think he's shown even remotely the player he's going to be. I think he's going to be a stud in the NHL for years and years and years to come.
Yep.
And like I said, this is a prove me bridge deal for the team. It helps the team. It helps the player. I don't like the Hughes deal at all. I don't think he's a top 2 defenseman. I think he's a top 4 defenseman for sure. I just don't like it. I don't think building around Hughes as your top defenseman is a good thing. I don't like having all this money tied up in Hughes and Ekman Larson.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm not a fan of what Vancouver's doing right now. I saw Paul Bissonnette tweet about how Vancouver's loaded, and I kind of was like, loaded where? Like they have players.
I think Paul Bissonnette might have been loaded when he tweeted that.
There's a high chance. All respect to Paul, but there's a high chance that he was loaded. But yeah, it's just one of those things where I don't know, man. I don't like I love the one deal, but the other deal just I don't like having all that money locked up in Hughes for 7 years or 6 years, wherever it was.
6 years. I thought this was, as a whole, like if you combine the two signings, because you have to, because they happen together, they would have been playing off each other. Canucks re-signing Quinn Hughes and Elias Pettersson for under $15 million while the two of them are there at the same time. That's some nice tidy work by Vancouver. Re-signing a stud defenseman and Norris candidate in the next couple of years in Quinn Hughes for 6 years, under $8 million. Well done. Re-signing Elias Pettersson for only 3 years, you walk him right to UFA at 7.3. Sorry, I think he still is an RFA when that ends. So his qualifying offer has to start at 7.3. That's tough.
Yeah.
Individually, if you look at the Elias Pettersson contract, it's a nice deal if he lives up to his potential. If he blows by his potential, this dude's going to be asking for $10-11 million.
Mm-hmm.
And Vancouver is not going to be able to pay that in 3 years because their cap situation will not allow it if Jim Benning is still at the helm, ruining the cap. Vancouver's biggest problem is Jim Benning answering the fucking phone on free agency day.
Yeah.
Right? Like this guy, like they need somebody in the room to just be like, Jim, don't answer the phone. Just don't do anything. No, you do not need Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Oh, but I want no.
Stop making trades.
You do
sign
not
your players.
That. Yeah, sign your own guys. Stop bringing in other pieces, and then you're not caught with your pants down 2 days before training camp without 2 of your biggest stars.
Yeah, I agree.
Right,
I agree.
And now you're like,
it's just unneeded stress. It's unneeded stress to your organization.
Now you're like, well, fuck, I only have $1, and I want this Kit Kat that's $2. That sucks, Jim. Sorry.
Break it in half.
They were able to get it done. Jim Benning may be thinking, I have to get this done. I've only got 1 year, 2 years left.
Yep.
So that's not my problem in 3 years. That could be a lot behind it. That like a lot of these long-term deals that NHL GMs sign, they don't have to deal with the aftermath of it afterwards anyway. So
no, they literally deal with the first 3 or 4 years, and then they're gone, and the player's still there.
Yeah. Prime example, David Clarkson.
Yeah, who's that?
Exactly. Josh Archibald has known to be an anti-vaxxer who speaks out about not having the vaccine. He was saying, no, I don't need it. No, I'm fine. And now he's pretty much out indefinitely with myocarditis, which is a heart condition that he got when he contracted COVID-19. So he will miss the season. This will affect the Oilers in a negative way because they lose a player, but they also gain $1.5 million in cap space so they can add to their depth, which they desperately need to do. So get vaccinated, guys. I feel bad for Josh Archibald. It's always terrible when somebody gets a career-threatening injury and they feel sick and they're not doing well. I just hope that we've said this enough. It's common sense. Get vaccinated. Protect yourselves. Protect others. More importantly, I was talking to somebody the other day, and they said they don't want to get vaccinated because they don't believe in it. And I said, well, who do you visit most frequently? He goes, oh, I see my mother. She's older, and she needs to visit her. And I said, so if you're sick and you bring that to your elderly mother, what's going to happen there? And he was like, well, she'll get sick too, but COVID's like, dude, people are dying. So get vaccinated, I guess.
Yep.
That's my
So,
PSA.
I got nothing nice to say about Josh Archibald, so I'm just gonna keep it moving.
Well, but yes, she plays for your favorite team, the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah, with my favorite player,
Connor
Leon
McDavid.
Draisaitl.
Can we talk about a tweet you put out?
What tweet?
Sportsnet or NHL put out, how many points is McDavid going to get? And you just quote tweeted it and said 0.
I think it's a valid. I really think it's a valid answer. I do think there's a high chance that Connor McDavid does go all 82 games without a point. I don't think it's as crazy as you think it is, but yeah, 0 points for Connor McDavid this season. He did 156 last year. I do think he wasted all his points. So I think 0 and 82 is definitely the way we're going. Edmonton's not going to win a game this year. Zach Hyman's probably not going to play all 82 games. Not worth $5 million. Oilers suck. Nurse isn't worth 9.5.
Okay. If McDavid scores the game-winning goal in overtime for the gold medal, will you cheer?
Yeah, of course. Because Canada won. Canada scored that goal.
I don't like McDavid either, but I can acknowledge he's a good hockey player.
Well, he's great, but it's just, great players win. Or no, he's good because great players win Stanley Cups. So
Austin Matthews isn't great?
No, he's good. I'm fair with my judgment. I'm fair with it. Like McDavid, you can't be the greatest player of all time when you're 23 years old. It's just not possible.
You're starting a franchise from scratch, and you can take any player. Who are you taking?
Austin Matthews.
I think I would too, to be honest. Well,
I just don't I don't think it's a stupid answer because who's not a 6'3" center who can put up 80 to 100.
You need goals to win, but you also need yeah.
But let's have this argument then. Who's better in his own zone? Austin Matthews.
Yeah.
So why are we not starting with a player who has a better defensive game? Because again, you need to score goals to win, but you need to keep him out of your own net. And guess what McDavid was doing in those 4 games that he lost to the Jets? Was turning the puck over and they got swept.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up because McDavid went through, and I think we can both agree on this, NHL officiating the last couple of years in the playoffs has been shit and terrible and inconsistent. McDavid has had, and I think you'll agree with that, this stat is a little bit ridiculous for a player of his caliber, his speed, and the way players slow him down. McDavid has gone 8 straight playoff games without drawing 1 single penalty.
Yeah.
So all the breakaways he gets, all the holding, the guy's on his back, he's on a breakaway, and he has freaking probably Mark Scheifele wrapped around him in a choker hold, and the ref's like, nope, not holding, no penalty. So the NHL has put out and said that they will be cutting down on cross-checking and slashing and holding.
Until the playoffs.
That's what I read, but let's give them the benefit of doubt here and let's have the conversation because it has been strict in the preseason, but so were the face-off violations 3 years ago. So let's see where this goes. Which team would be affected the most by this?
By the cross-checking and all that stuff?
Cross-checking, slashing, and holding. You can treat them as 3 separately. You can treat it as overall, and let me know why it's Montreal.
I was going to say Montreal. I just don't think there's any other defensive core that hacks, slashes, and whacks as much as Ben Chariot. Really, that's who I'm talking about. But the Montreal Canadiens, obviously without Weber, you have less of it. But Weber's good. I respect Weber. But if you actually sat down and watched the Montreal Canadiens game, this guy takes so many slashes and whacks to other people's fingers, hands, arms, legs. It's ridiculous. It's definitely Montreal. And I don't think there's any other answer to it, to be honest with you. You could really say any team that has a rough and tumble defensive core.
Yeah, I think of Boston, I think of the Islanders, the Penguins mix it up a little bit too. Even the Wild were a little bit chippy at times. Anaheim could get in there because they were a slower team. But and people would always say I don't know too much about Tampa. Anaheim had the biggest penalty differential, so they might see them really take a hit here. But I look at this and people say, "Ooh, it's part of the game. Like they can't do that. Like they can't take it away." Yes, it is part of the game because the refs aren't doing their jobs. If the refs did their jobs, hockey would be what it's supposed to be. High scoring, high pace, let their stars be the stars. You can still have your big hits. You can still have the scrums after the whistle. But if, let's use McDavid because we've been using him as an example, if McDavid's dancing from end to end, I want to see him finish and either have a shot on net and put it in the goal or a nice save. I don't want to see him being taken down by Matt Dumba.
No, I agree. I agree.
Like I want to see a hockey player do what a hockey player does.
Yeah, I agree.
Right? It's not a rugby
I
game.
agree.
It's a hockey game. It's supposed to be
No, I agree.
fast. Right? So hopefully they get this done. All right, we're going to get into some Leafs talk, guys. We're going to take a quick 2-minute break so I can grab a drink of water. And we're back. We were not down like Instagram and Facebook were today. Just quickly, were you affected by that at all?
No, I was at work. I was kind of laughing at all, like I was like reading Twitter, all like the complaints and stuff. It's like, God damn, we can't go a day without this stuff.
Instagram, I was like, that sucks, but wasn't really sad. Facebook, I could not give a fuck. I don't use Facebook anymore.
No, yeah.
The thing that bugged me, like, because Facebook was down, Messenger was down, so all my chat, like, I message all my friends over Messenger for some reason. I don't know why I use Messenger, but that just kind of seems to be my go-to to message people.
It's like the pop-up aspect to it for me. It's like I see that bubble pop up, and it's just
Yeah.
so much easier than texting.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, you can send gifts and stuff. I don't get. You could probably do the same things over text now. It's just I use that and.
No,
Yeah.
seriously, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but I just the only thing that upset me was now I couldn't get my medical and lawyer advice from Facebook. So.
No, yes, because all those people who are very smart when they talk about the vaccine on Facebook.
Yeah. The Toronto Maple Leafs. Big win tonight. You watched the game, I assume.
I did. I actually really enjoyed it.
Okay. I did not watch it because I was recording another show, so I'm going into this blind. 3 players who stood out for you tonight, good or bad. Go ahead.
Bad, Wayne Simmons. I'm a huge Wayne Simmons fan. I liked the signing of bringing him back. He looks slow tonight.
Can I tell you a funny story about that signing?
Yeah, of course.
I was golfing when he signed, and Sportsnet's app was kind of glitching. So it reported it when it came through on the pop-up app as they re-signed Wayne Simmons at $1.9 million. I was like, holy fuck, they re-signed Wayne Simmons for $1.9 million per year for 2 years? That's terrible. And then I had a birdie putt, and I was all rattled because of the Wayne Simmons, and I missed the putt, so I'm going to blame it on Wayne Simmons for that. But then I found out later that it was $900K a year and not a ridiculous amount. So thanks, Wayne Simmons, for that.
No, but yeah, like he looks slow. Obviously, I mean, it is early. Like it's still kind of early in the preseason. Obviously, he can get going a little bit. It's still early. Pierre Engvall, for a positive, he looked great tonight. I definitely think this guy can be a difference maker. I think this is the type of player that you need on your bottom 6 lines. I think he helps. I think he's physical in the corners. I think people don't understand, like people like playing against him don't really think of how physical he's going to be by how he looks. And he charges you in the corner and he takes a puck away. He has an underrated shot. His goal tonight was beautiful, and he actually hit a crossbar during the second or third from the same spot. So he's kind of found a comfortable spot on the ice to let that puck fly. Mm-hmm. And Jack Campbell, I think he played solid tonight. He definitely bounced back from his first preseason showing. He looked a little shaky in his first one. He's come back. He looked like the goalie from last year. And I'm actually really excited for this goalie tandem of Mrazek and Campbell. I definitely think that they're 2 goalies that have shown that with not a full 50 to 60 game schedule for them, and they can play their 35 to 45 games and be comfortable with it. I think that's really going to help us come playoff time.
Yeah, I agree with that. Obviously,
and then, one little quick note is they were supposed to do a shootout after the game, and they didn't. But I read that some of the players on the Leafs, Muzzin and Dermott, were supposed to play in the game, and I don't know if they were included in this, but there were players from the Leafs that were sick, so that's why they canceled the shootout.
So was this their flu game?
It could have been.
That's
Michael
kind of
Jordan asked.
interesting to note because tomorrow night's supposed to be the big boys playing, and
Yeah.
maybe we don't see that tomorrow now. Which I'm going to the game tomorrow. I'm kind of bummed out about that now.
We'll see.
Preseason Josh attending all the home games.
Love it.
So
How much you pay for those tickets?
like $30.
Oh, it's not bad at all.
Nah, it's not bad at all. It's just to get out, right? Like, fuck, you want to go to the building.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I haven't done it in 2 years.
I'm kind of done with the preseason. Not gonna lie.
No, and I actually have a complaint. I think I brought this up to you earlier that I wanted to talk about it.
Mhm.
Does this preseason not seem 10 times fucking longer than everything else? Like every other year?
No,
Like,
it's actually
I know the last
shorter.
couple years
The
we haven't
Leafs,
had it.
the
Oh,
Leafs used
really?
the Leafs used to play like 9 or 10 preseason games.
Oh, wow.
They only have 6 this
That's
year.
insane. That's
But
insane.
like
I
I've
just feel like it's so drawn out. Like they had a 4-day break in between their third and fourth preseason game. It's just so weird.
but don't forget they also have fucking training camp still going on too.
No, yeah, it's just it's weird.
Right? So I don't know. Like
I mean, I guess
I'm-
last year they didn't have any training camp, right? So
I'm not tired of the hockey. I'm tired of people's takes. Like I saw one the other day, and I forget who tweeted it, and I'm calling you out if you hear this. Michael Bunting will not be making Team Canada.
for the Olympic roster,
Yeah, like he's
Well, no
not
shit.
making Team Canada. So let it go. Michael Bunting might not even be a top 6 forward on this team in 20 games. Right? He's having a good
you never know.
he's having a good preseason. You know who's also having a good preseason? Josh Hosang. He's probably starting in the Marlies.
And David Kampf is having a great season, a great
Yeah,
preseason.
he's probably going to be pretty good. But
no, I know, but at the end of the day, though, he's not going to be scoring 2 goals in every 4 games. Like the guy's going to be a bottom feeder, defensive player that's helping us keep the puck out of our own net, not put it in theirs, right?
for sure.
But
like
it's just one of those things where I don't know.
Yeah, whatever. Like we'll see what happens. We'll have more clarity after tomorrow's game. Apparently, there's going to be some cuts after tomorrow's game too. So we'll have more to talk about with the Leafs after that. Maybe we'll do a quick half-hour update show or something. We'll figure it out.
Cool.
But let's talk about what all of Leafs Nation is talking about right now. All or Nothing. What did you think of this docu-series?
It took me about, I think, 2 or 3 days to finish the whole thing. But what a roller coaster of 5 episodes. That was amazing. You messaged me. I don't know if you were being serious or not, but you said that you're in tears 5 minutes in. I was legit in tears 5 minutes into the episode 1.
I wasn't like full on crying, but I was like, damn.
No, you had to like misty eyes. You know what I mean? Like it's just one of those things where it reminded me how much I love this team, and reminded me of
why
how
I hate
close,
this team.
of why I hate this team and why I'm still so angry at them, but how goddamn close we are to a Stanley Cup. And I really do believe that. I think this team, this core is so close to a Stanley Cup. I think they have the belief in each other. I think the coach believes in them. I would run through a wall for Sheldon Keefe.
I would jump. I tweeted out. I would jump in front of a train for Sheldon Keefe after watching that.
And that's something I want you to read before the show ends. Is your key points to the 5 episodes of the series,
sure,
because I do believe
is that gonna be a permanent feature on the show? Josh's 5 points.
I like it because I think you've hit the nail on the head every time you've done it, and I think that your 5 points to the series were literally spot on. The one thing I'm 50-50 on is how Marner was kind of shown in it. I definitely think they did that on purpose, and they kind of stayed away from the players because they didn't want to give too much attention to one player.
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone was kind of talking. But yeah, one thing I want to say though is I love Big Joe, but god damn, am I ever excited that they didn't re-sign him. I don't like the way he came off in that series. He came off as a jokester and a guy who's good for the locker room, but he's not somebody who's gonna lead your team to a Stanley Cup or help lead your team to a Stanley Cup.
I think. Okay, so he's really good for locker room morale.
100%.
But so is Jason Spezza, and there was a scene in the documentary that bugged me because Keefe was talking about I don't like the way the guys are playing this and that. I forget exactly what he said, and Thornton kind of brushed him off. He said, "We're in first place. What are you talking about? You can be in first
and like smiles. Yeah.
Yeah, you could be in first place, dude, like, and still not be playing how you want to play, as evident in the first round loss. But when Keith went up to Spezza and said, I think the guys are getting tired of me. Are you able to like talk to them as well? He was like, yeah, for sure, man. No problem. So Joe Thornton is good for locker room morale. Maybe not so much for like a leadership on the ice and getting the message across thing, if that makes any sense to anybody.
No, I completely agree, because there was that one scene where Jimmy Vesey was, before he got put on waivers, he was just sitting in an empty room just by himself. And the way Joe Thornton kind of mocked him was just like, dude, like, this guy's clearly in his feelings right now, and clearly not happy with the way he's playing, and clearly knowing that he's probably going to be put on waivers or cut in the near future. Maybe we should be more inclusive with the guy instead of making fun of him with where how he's sitting.
Right.
But I mean, let's be honest, guys. Like, this is the same guy who was on many great San Jose Shark teams that could never do it, and that were always in first place. So the whole "we're in first place, relax, what are we talking about" thing, he should know that doesn't always work come playoff time. And he got stripped from being a captain in San Jose. So clearly the guy's not a leader.
We've kind of given our overall view of this. My expectations going into this were, I didn't know what to expect. I did not know that they were going to include as much as they did. I was unsure with it being the Leafs, being majority of their fan base is young kids. I wasn't sure they would include swearing. And I'm so glad within the first 30 seconds that Sheldon Keefe had already dropped 3 F-bombs. Because I work in hockey. I know the language that is said. It's so unnecessary. It's so, you don't need to be saying fuck that much. You don't need to be saying half the things they say as much, but it is part of the messaging in hockey. Like, you say it to get your point across. Don't ask me to explain it. Don't ask me to justify it. Is it unnecessarily? Highly, it is. Like, we admit it. We know that, but that's what it is. The language is terrible. That's part of being in a locker room. Sorry, guys.
You could be professional all day. The minute you walk into a locker room, you're saying "fuck this, fuck that, fuck this, fuck that," right?
And it's the same for women's hockey too. I was talking to a player who plays for RPI and NCAA Division I women's hockey, Emma Hicks. She says, "Yeah, we talk the same way in the dressing room too. Like, it's the same. It's all athletes. So it's the same. Like, even just recreational golf with your buddies, you're calling, like, you're saying, fuck this, fuck that, and it's like you're shooting 120 anyway. Who cares?" So
I work at Lids. You should see that the conversation with a customer is it's even just the everyday speak nowadays. People swear. Yeah, it's just how it is.
Yeah, but no, I'm so glad they included that, because I think it did add legitimacy to the documentary.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree.
One thing I was not expecting, and it actually caught me by surprise and made me enjoy the documentary more, was that the main characters were Sheldon Keefe and Kyle Dubas. I was not expecting that. I thought they would follow around the kind of like, Matthews, Marner, Nylander, Riley, and Muzzin. But they only kind of got like maybe 20 minutes in each episode, or kind of like they were focusing.
You have to think COVID probably had to do with that. A lot of it was just at the rink. Like, there was a lot of stuff just
but even then, right? Like, you could focus on Matthews pregame, focus on him on the trainer's room and all that. And but I actually enjoyed that more, because I think this documentary, what it was doing, the mentality of it was all or nothing. And the show was called All or Nothing. Well, who is behind the culture and the mentality? The GM, the coach, and the president. Well, Brendan Shanahan's not going to be a main character in this, because he's above that, apparently. You have Kyle Dubas in it, and you have Sheldon Keefe, who are the two delivering the message. Dubas builds the team and sets the culture. Yep. Keefe is the one who sets the lines and delivers what Keefe wants. That's how a hockey team works.
And
that's
the
how
belief they have in each other too.
Exactly. And they did a fantastic job of this. And the way Keefe was portrayed in this, and I think this is legitimate, he is a fantastic coach. He is not a soft coach, as many of us thought. I had that opinion going into it. I thought he was a soft players coach who would do this. He is not, man. The way he spoke to Jimmy Vesey was like, yeah, your game sucks right now, dude.
And then he's like, "Oh, I played good the other day." He's like, "No, I'm not talking about one game. I'm talking about
I'm not talking about you scoring. I'm talking about doing something."
Yeah.
And we'll get to Dubas and Mikheyev in a little bit, but I also want to talk about Vesey being waived and Shanahan's reaction. He was like, "Oh, wow, really?" Yeah, all
Like
right.
he got claimed. Wow, I'm shocked.
Yeah, all right. I'm gonna go to lunch now, Kyle. See you later.
Yeah, wow. We wasted that 750.
Yeah, I was like, all right, fuck it, whatever. But no, just fantastic. And then you had the whole we had that report come out that Mikheyev was asking to be traded because he wanted more ice time. And then we see like episode 2 early on in the season, Mikheyev comes in, hey, I'm only playing 11 minutes a night. I want to score more. And the way Duba spoke to him and said, no, but you're doing more than scoring. You have a role on this team. You're doing fantastic in that role. Shows me that they believe in this guy. They believe in their players.
And he seems like he kind of frustrates Keith too. Like Keith wants so much from Ilya, and Ilya just like doesn't deliver.
Yeah. No,
Like in
I
that,
feel that
whole
too.
situation.
Well, you had it in, I think it was episode 4. It was at intermission, and like you only got 15 minutes. That's your downtime. That's your time to not enjoy yourself, but like relax, get ready for the next period. And Keith walks in and he goes, "Bring me Mikheyev." And you're like, "Oh shit, what's happening here?" And he brings Mikheyev into a
Yeah.
room and he tells him, "This right here, that's why you're not scoring. Stop doing that." And Mikheyev kind of like walked off. So I'm not sure here. I thought guys in this were portrayed well. I thought Jack Campbell was a fucking beauty. I liked the way they portrayed Matthews because they looked like maybe not so much Matthews, but like his whole family because I liked the feature they had on him. And I liked the way they portrayed Nick Foligno, even though it didn't really work out because I liked his whole family aspect of it.
Mhm.
I didn't think Mikheyev came across well in this, and I didn't think Marner came across well in this.
I agree with you that he didn't come across well with Marner, but I don't. I think Marner. Actually, one thing I do have to add after this, it's not that doesn't include. It almost changes my mind about what I'm going to say, so I'm kind of going to contradict myself with this. It showed me how much Marner cares, especially with Matthews. It really did show me like how well, or sorry, not how well, but how much they do want a cup. It's not BS. It's not them just talking the talk just to say, hey, I want a cup. I want to make my money. But
Yeah.
it goes to show me that okay, yeah, they signed a big ticket, but they want to be here and they want to prove to us that they're worth it.
100%. And like, obviously, the series wraps up with them blowing it, and I like how they dedicated a whole episode to the playoff run.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Sheldon Keefe's speech, overtime, Game 6 was phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
It may conquer the Miracle on Ice speech from the movie Miracle. With
The
Herb
the
Brooks.
result doesn't though.
The result doesn't because, and I like the way they amped it up. They were like, you know what? They showed the stats too. The way they showed the stats in this documentary was great. Like the standings, the updates, what game they're on. He delivers this fantastic speech. They blow it. They go into Game 7. Obviously, they lose. And then the locker room after is what convinced me. Oh shit, these guys actually do care.
The heads
Everybody
down.
was
The
pretty
heads
much in
down.
tears. Heads
Yeah.
down. Campbell is broke my heart watching that. I looked at my wife and I was like, damn. And she goes, this guy cares. And I went, you don't even watch the game. She goes, yeah, but this guy cares. So, man, what a fantastic series. What a great look behind the door.
Yeah, I agree. It helped me get over my anger of last year, and I definitely want to say because I watched this, and I said this to you multiple times. I didn't think I was going to watch it. I didn't think I was going to get myself to watch it.
Oh, I
But
knew I was going to watch
I'm
it.
glad I did. I'm very glad I did because it almost helped me get over that another big loss, another Game 7 loss, and I don't know. I'm ready to go again. Obviously, I hope that it's a different result because I'm starting to go a little bit insane when it comes to this Toronto Maple Leafs team. But I don't know. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to hopefully see another successful season. I'm excited. I don't think there's many teams in that division that are better than us. I don't think there's many teams in this league that are better than us. And I don't know. Go Leafs, go.
Yeah, what this series did was it didn't help me get over the loss. It got me excited for this season because I bought back into this team. I'm excited to see the guy. Like, yeah, there's people in this documentary that were featured that are not there. Thornton's not there. Foligno's not there. There's a couple others who are in the series, but they're not there anymore. But the core is there. We got to take a look in behind Tavares. We got to take a look in behind his injury. I felt uncomfortable watching that again, to be honest.
Yeah, I didn't like that. I'm glad they didn't they didn't really spend more than they needed to on that.
Yeah, it was. Maybe I'll tell the story one day of how I was when that actually happened. But yeah, it was.
It was scary. I don't like it.
But like they showed us behind that. They showed his recovery. They showed him in the locker room. They showed him as a leader. We got to see how Kyle Dubas operates. We got to see how Sheldon Keefe coaches this team. And I'm bought back in. I went, damn, these guys are all in. They know what they want. They know how to take it. Let's get over the hump this year. This is their all or nothing season because now we know how they operate. And I'm mad they said no to a season 2.
They said no to season 2?
Amazon said, hey, can we do a second season? And the Leafs said no.
Oh, wow. Maybe bad luck.
And so, like, one last question about this. People were upset. They were saying, yeah, we didn't get to see, like, the exit meetings and, more after Game 7. My response was, they probably told Amazon to fuck off after a loss like that.
Oh, yeah, they told me to fuck out. Because if you realize there wasn't much after the loss. So
because it was pretty much like, okay, we lost by.
Yeah, get out. Yeah, we're done. We're done with this. Because I'll be honest with you, when they first got eliminated, I thought this was going to get canceled. Like, I didn't think they were going to release it.
I thought that might have been a real option.
Yeah, or even if they released the first 3 episodes. But I didn't think they were going to release anything to do with the playoff loss.
Just release the regular season and then be like, and then what happens?
Yeah, exactly.
But no,
exactly.
It was good.
Yeah.
All right, you got anything else for us?
One thing I wanted to add is it's a little bit of an anger thing, like towards the Leafs. During the blue and white scrimmage, Marner had a breakaway and went into the boards, and Robertson kind of gave him a hit, and Marner kind of came at Robertson like, "What are you doing? Like, why are you touching me?" And that attitude towards young players trying to will their way into the lineup and kind of play that physical edge that Marner doesn't have and would actually benefit from putting towards his game. And the reason that people hate on him for not having a killer instinct, it kind of ticks me off because this is a guy that just had the playoff series he did last year, got all the hate and criticism he did, and he's just going to do stuff like that. And it just has me sitting here shaking my head. Is like I know I just said this guy does seem like he has bought into the team and wants to win, but it's one of those things where why is that stuff making you angry? Take the hit and move on. Like you know that he's not trying to put you through the boards. He's trying to make a hockey team. He's trying to make a hockey team that you play on better.
Mm-hmm.
That's just my take. That's just my take.
Yeah, well, make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, Google Play, anywhere podcasts are available. Follow us on Instagram at Orion_Sportscast. Follow us on Twitter at Orion Sportcast. And we will see you soon. Actually, well, I'll see you tomorrow. I'm doing a basketball show with Brandon. And we should probably do a wrestling show this week. So we'll see you soon.